Surprise! Welcome to class, or shall I say extra credit, maybe? Just a little bonus episode for you guys this week. It's gonna be a pretty quick one. Can you hear me? It's looking kind of low on my microphone. Okay, there we go. Hello? Seems quiet. Maybe I should hold it. Anyway, I've had so many interviews lined up and it's been so great, and I really love doing those every week. But I also like doing solo casts every now and then, and I really enjoy diving into research and stuff. And so I'd love to do more of those in the future. It's been a bit of a whirlwind recently, so I haven't had a lot of time to prepare for those types of episodes, but I did want to give a little update now that I'm like a month and change, like 6 weeks, I guess now, post-op from my endo excision surgery. And if you're new here and haven't heard that story, you can go check out my just a few episodes like from a few weeks ago. There's one on like my laparoscopic like tips and stuff for post-op, and then there's one about my journey to getting the diagnosis, my symptoms, etc., etc. So definitely go listen to that one first. But I really would like to talk about in this episode just a little update, because I've had 2 periods now since the surgery. If you follow me online, TikTok mostly, Girl in Pain, all one word is my name if you'd like to go follow me there, Girl in Pain. But I talked about it on there a little bit with my first one, and I haven't made a video yet for the second period that I had post-surgery. I'm just gonna give a little sneak peek. It's not what I was hoping. So basically the first period after surgery was about 2 weeks post-op, and it started really weird because you bleed after surgery a little bit. It's not like period bleeding, it's much lighter. It's very, because obviously you're not like shedding the uterine lining, so it's different. And so that happened after surgery for a few days, and then I started bleeding again about 2 weeks post-op, and it was very dark, like brown at first and not very much, and then the next day it got like a little more red, but very, very dark still and like cloudy. And then the third day kind of morphed into a normal like period consistency. And at this point I still wasn't allowed, it was actually like just under 2 weeks post-op, so I still wasn't allowed to like put anything up there, and I usually wear a menstrual disc, so I just wear pads, which was super uncomfortable. I haven't done that since I was like 17 years old. Like 2 out of 10 don't recommend. I hate wearing pads on heavy days especially. I didn't really believe that was my period at first, like because it started so weird, and I was like, maybe this is just more post-op bleeding. It doesn't really look normal. It's not the right color or consistency or like heaviness. And then my temperature hadn't dropped, because I tracked my basal body temperature and it was still elevated, like, and it drops a few days before your period starts. For me, usually like 24 to 72 hours before, like it varies a little bit. It's usually like within 48 hours though. My temperature drops and my period starts very shortly after that. And that's how it's supposed to be. Like your hormones hit their lowest point right before your bleed. First day or 2 of your bleed is when they're the lowest. And I do have a whole episode on basal body temperature, BBT tracking. If that's something you're interested in and you're like confused about what I'm saying right now, I recommend you listen to that episode. But yeah, basically my temperature hadn't dropped yet. So I was like, that's weird. And then like on the 3rd day when it looked kind of normal, it did drop. And so I was like, all right, I don't know what those first couple days were. They were also, I don't want to say symptom free, because I was having mental breakdowns. I was feeling very heavy those few days just with everything going on. I think that was like the day after the big ugly bill passed or whatever, and all this money went to ICE, and it was just like a very, very sad day. I was reading all about like the concentration camp in Florida, and I was just so horrified, and having some like PMDD symptoms as well. And so that was like a very rough day. I was extremely fatigued. I never nap really, like I'm not a good napper, and I literally couldn't keep my eyes open. I was at my boyfriend's house playing with his youngest, his son, and we're just like messing around while Josh was doing like laundry or something, I don't know, and his youngest and I were jumping on the bed or something, I don't know, and I literally practically passed out in the middle of us playing. Like I laid there and he's like jumping all over me and I'm literally falling asleep, and that was post mental breakdown. So I did have of those symptoms, crazy fatigue that day. I did have some back pain, but we actually like were outside. I think it was the second day when it was still kind of like didn't really seem entirely like my period, but I was not in pain, at least not anywhere near the levels that I usually feel. And this was my first entire month going gluten-free also, because gluten is linked to inflammation, and especially with endo can be very inflammatory on top of the inflammatory disease. And so I was just giving it a shot. It's one of the things that I hadn't tried yet because I really, really didn't want to. And I can make an episode talking about that if people are interested, but I started going gluten-free just in my luteal phase, and I noticed improvements. I was still in a lot of pain every month, but I had stopped throwing up. I hadn't thrown up since like February when I started doing this. And so I was like really excited that I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't like being gluten-free. It's kind of annoying. It's expensive. But if this actually really helps, that would be like incredible. And so then the entire month before my surgery, I went gluten-free as well. And that was my first full month doing it. And so then this period came, I had the excision, a complete excision, and had gone gluten-free that whole month and rested a lot, obviously, because I had been in recovery and I wasn't feeling the pain like I usually do. Like the fatigue was hitting super hard. I will say it was probably one of the worst months for fatigue that I've ever had in my life, and like brain fog and that kind of thing. But I was still in recovery. I hadn't gone back to work yet, so it wasn't like a huge deal, but I was not cramping. I was cramping so mildly, like so mildly. I could stand, I could walk. It was so hot. It was like 100 degrees outside, sun beating down. We went down to like the creek that day and we're playing in the creek. And I remember I had to like sit down on one of the rocks for a little bit. Like I couldn't stand for too long, but still the fact that I walked there and, wasn't in extreme pain was fine. It was really mostly like my lower back too. It wasn't so much my pelvis and my uterus. And then later that day we went to this local fair, and it was like set up like half on grass, half on concrete, but essentially no trees, no shade, like nothing. And it's 1,000,000 degrees outside, just sun beating down. So it's hot and tired for sure, but I was not in pain. And for those of you who don't know, heat is a big trigger for endo. Endo symptoms really can flare up in the extreme heat. But I was chilling. I was essentially fine. It was something that I was like, if this was like this every single month, like it's not symptom free, but if it was like this every single month, this is something I could deal with. And so it being the first one after surgery, everyone that I talked to online told me that the first period after surgery was the worst, like super, super bad. And that you just have to get through that first one. And so I was like, am I lucky? Like, am I really lucky? Did the gluten-free thing like really help? Did I do something like just really right? Like I didn't switch up my supplements. I was taking the same supplements and stuff. And I had been off the pharmaceutical painkillers for about a full week at this point. So I don't think it was any like remnant of that, but I didn't want to like get my hopes up, obviously, because I knew the first one after surgery was going to be weird. Either way, it was probably going to be an abnormal one. I wasn't expecting it to be essentially pain-free. So that was nice. If I had been in like extreme pain that day, it really would have robbed me of some fun memories and a fun day. And considering my mental state was already fragile that day, it really would have depressed me a little bit. So moving on, that was a month ago now. Now today, that's not the right up. I am on day 4. Day 4 of my cycle. So bleeding now, pretty much out of pain now. But the past 3 days, not the best. If you're new here, my boyfriend has 3 children that live half the time here in Pennsylvania, half the time in a different state, about 10 hours away. So we meet their mom halfway, 5 hours there, 5 hours back. Meet her halfway to switch the kids back and forth. And they go to school there, so we have them when they're not in school. So we had them all summer, and just this past week, we took them back because school's starting. It's a very long car ride. And I knew that my period was coming. And so I was prepared. with all of my supplements. I had like food and snacks ready, just like a granola bar, these little chocolate coconut things that I get from Costco that are so good. It was like practically all I could stomach for half the day. I woke up early so that I could make eggs, just some scrambled eggs and gluten-free bread before we left. Like usually we just stop at Wawa and I grab something, but I knew that I might be nauseous or in pain, and so eggs are like typically fairly safe option for me. So yeah, I woke up early so that I would have time to like make that, leaving from my boyfriend's house. So I get up, my temperature had dropped on Monday. We were driving them on Tuesday. So I woke up, and so pretty much every single day that my period starts, I wake up a couple hours before I'm actually like getting out of bed. So maybe around like 4-ish, 4 or 5 in the morning. It's usually like right before sunrise. I don't know why my body does this because I'm usually not in pain at this point. And I haven't even started bleeding at this point. Like I wake up and go to the bathroom, there's no blood yet. But I typically wake up around like 4 or 5 in the morning, right before the sun comes up. You can usually hear the birds starting to chirp. And I just know. I'm like, my period's starting today. And at that point, I always have a decision to make of, do I get up and pump supplements into my body in hopes of getting ahead of it? Or do I wait and see? And while I know that I always should take the supplements, it's 4 in the morning and I don't feel like it. I don't feel like moving. And so I woke up and this like happened and the thought crossed my mind, but I wasn't in pain yet. Hour or two later, I wake up like for real, get out of bed, go to the bathroom, everything's normal. But I know it's coming. I can feel it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to put my disc in because I'm going to be in the car all day, stopping at like public highway restrooms. I'm not going to want to have to like deal with putting a menstrual disc in one of those, you know? So I'm like, I'm just going to put it in the morning because I'm fairly certain it's starting. Put it in, go downstairs, make my breakfast. My eggs that I had planned. And I get about, as I'm making it, and I've been standing for 15 or so minutes now, I feel them start to come on, and they're coming on fast. And I had taken supplements at this point. I'd taken my ginger pill, I'd taken my Boswellia and turmeric pills, my Elix supplement, which I do have a discount code for in the show notes. If you're interested, traditional Chinese medicine, personalized formula that I have. I take that like leading up to my period, so I had already been taking that. My magnesium I'd been taking every single day. What else do I take? All my stuff, all the stuff. And I'd been eating anti-inflammatory. I always try to eat fairly anti-inflammatory. I will say the one thing that I fucked up on is I had a drink on Monday because we went to Music Fest. And I wanted to have a drink. God forbid. I don't drink that often, largely because of endo. And because I know that there's no safe amount of alcohol. But every now and then I'm like, oh, I want to drink. It was fun. It was hot. They had like a really yummy option and I just wanted it. And so I made the conscious decision. I made it as a conscious choice. It wasn't like a reflex of like, I have to have a drink. It was, I thought about it and was like, I want this. And I take care of myself so well. And I took care of myself so well the rest of the month. And I honestly was really confident that the gluten-free thing was going to have like massive changes because so far I had seen a lot of success with it. And so I was like, this is the month. Like, I have had full excision. There's no way anything's grown back yet. I've been gluten-free. I generally take care of myself. I've been doing a lot of like somatic mental health work and EFT tapping. I've been doing so much of a lot of visualizations. Like, I'm in a very transformative period of my life, and I was just really hopeful. I don't want to say confident, but I was hopeful that this month would be mild, like the previous month had been. And I hadn't had any like PMDD symptoms this month, which was crazy. Like, my mental health stayed pretty steady my entire luteal phase. That's the first month that's happened since, like, for a little while, for quite a few months now. I was feeling ready. I was like, this is gonna be easy. And so I was hopeful, but not delusional. I try to be delusional, but this is a very difficult thing for me to be delusional about because I have been burnt so many times by my own body. But anyway, so that's the one thing that I fucked up on, I will say. But still, that, like, having one drink the day before my period should not have caused the pain that it did. So even if it didn't help, I certainly don't attribute the pain that occurred to that solely. But anyway, otherwise I was very on top of my shit. But about halfway through, like, making my breakfast, I started to, like, feel them and hunch over, and I was like, I need to sit down, but, like, I've got the stove on. Luckily, eggs cook quickly. I do like my scrambled eggs burnt, though. I get a lot of judgment for that. So I do that. I have my bread, and I eat about half of them, and then I have to go upstairs. Then I have to go to the bathroom. Things are moving, things are hurting. I was not having fun. I go upstairs and, like, crash into Josh's bed, like, hunched over, and he's like, "Are you good?" Like, he knew. He stays generally aware of my cycle, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, like, just grunted at him. And he was like, "Can I do anything?" And I was like, "No." I went to the bathroom and took more supplements, as much as I felt safe taking, because I usually do, like, if I feel pain coming on, or, like, I wake up with that feeling of, like, knowing that it's starting, I will take, like, half my doses. Like, I can take 2 ginger pills is the dosing, and so I'll take one, and then I wait a little bit for the pain to start, and then take another, because they never get rid of it altogether, and I just feel like it's a little more effective to space them out that way. Yeah, so I'm doing all that. I also have a TENS machine. So I actually waited till I got in the car to put the TENS machine on. And I need a new one, or at least I need new pads, because the little sticky things are just falling off these days. Oh, after I pump myself with more supplements and go to the bathroom, I'm feeling a little bit better. It was, like, super intense for, like, 15 minutes. And then after that, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of chilling. And so I finished the rest of my cold eggs, and I get all my shit together, and I help Josh get the kids' shit all together, and we get everybody in the car. And I'm kind of feeling them a little bit. And so I put the TENS machine on, and I'm like, okay, we're good. And then about an hour and a half maybe into this ride, I'm ill. Like ill, like unwell. And so I'm like, this sucks, because I thought maybe I just had those really intense ones in the morning, and it was just, maybe some constipation and stuff, because that really does make it worse. And I moved that along and took my supplements, and I thought maybe I'd be okay, but no. I'm unwell, and I, like, distinctly remember, I'm going to think about it every single time we make this drive now, because we're getting off at an exit and going around this turn. And Josh is a very good driver. Like, he never makes me car sick, and I was not car sick. That was not it at all. This was fully coming from inside of me and from the pain. Like, it was hurting so bad at this point. I'd been using the TENS machine for, like, an hour, probably 45 minutes, an hour. And, like, I don't think you're supposed to do that, but I had it up as high as I could handle it. Like, I was like, I honestly might get, like, marks from this, but I can't deal. Like, I can't deal. And I'm in a car. I can't move around into my other positions that help a little bit. I mean, at least I was sitting, but I can't find a comfortable position. And we're going around this curve, and that was the point where I was like, is coming out. And thank God there was a trash bag. I had a bag, and I started kind of, like, started coughing a little bit. Josh was like, "Are you good?" I was like, "I'll be fine. Been here before." And I'm expected, like, the kids are young, they're nosy. Like, I'm fully expecting somebody to be like, "What's going on? Is Autumn okay? Did you just throw up?" But Shrek is on the little DVD player, and they're engrossed. Like, honestly, at this point, it's been the quietest ride we've had so far, because they are so, like, fully engrossed in Shrek. So I start coughing. I'm waiting for one of the kids to say something. Nobody does. I throw up a couple blurs. It wasn't anything crazy. It's nice and neat in the bag. I tie it up, put it aside in case I need it again. Fuck, guys. I thought I was done throwing up from this bullshit. Thought I was done throwing up from this bullshit. It sucked. It was honestly the pain and the throwing up, like that's all something that I've dealt with hundreds of times since I was 13 years old. Like I was a child dealing with this. I am no stranger to this pain, to these symptoms. It was really that just like mental, that hope that I'd had of like, it's been cut out of me. And I made a fairly significant change to my diet. And I generally take care of myself. I lift and I try to spend time outside, and I've been doing so much mental work and meditation and journaling, and I eat so anti-inflammatory and I eat so many plants, so much fiber in my diet. Like I overdose on supplements, have tried a gazillion different things to manage this pain and to diminish this pain very holistically, both Western, Eastern, alternative, traditional approaches. Like I've just tried so many. I've come at it from every angle. I've come at it from Western medicine. I've come at it from Eastern medicine. I've come at it from my own research and what I know about my own body. I can't cry because I did my makeup and I'm going to Music Fest again later. It just sucks. It sucks that I'm always gonna have to plan my life around this. I'm never gonna be free from this pain. And honestly, I consider myself lucky. Like I consider myself so blessed because as of right now, it's supposedly not on any organs. I'm not in, I'm trying to break the habit of comparing myself to other people in every context, especially when it comes to endo journeys, because they are all so different. And there's always going to be somebody in more pain than you. There's always going to be somebody in less pain than you. Like it's just such a dynamic, nuanced, unique disease. But I do consider myself blessed because I know that there are fellow endo warriors out there who never have a day of relief, like not even a day. There's always at least an hour of every day, sometimes the entire day, that they're in pain. They can't pick up their kids or hang out with friends or hike or do things that they used to love to do, like active people. Like I consider myself not blessed to have the disease, but blessed that my symptoms are fairly predictable. Or at least I track everything so well. I'm such a numbers and data person that at least I have caught on to all of the trends and I can predict things fairly well. And while I do have the ovulation symptoms as well, and the fatigue and the brain fog might hit me out of nowhere, they're not quite as debilitating as my menstrual symptoms. And so I'm blessed, and I do not take a single moment for granted that I can participate in things and hang out with people and have plans on the days that I'm not experiencing pain. Like it's honestly taught me such a presence and gratitude that expands every day still, because I know that there are some women out there who literally can't get out of bed more than half the days of their cycle. Whereas for me, it's a handful. And that's still not okay. It's still not, I'm not minimizing my experience. And again, I'm not trying to compare myself to other experiences. I'm just saying like this really has taught me such gratitude, like becoming more immersed in the endo community and hearing other people's stories. I do feel such gratitude for the moments that I am able to, like, for example, today going to Music Fest, I'm having my pain is pretty much subsided from my period starting a few days ago. And I feel safe in my body again. And I know that there are women out there who are not lucky enough to have that relief that I have, but it's still debilitating. It is still so unfair that I have to feel such anxiety leading up to my period, that I have to prepare to either push through a shift at work or call out sick. And it's super unfair that other people just consider it like a period disease. Or period cramps, because that's not at all what it is. Everything, if you are cycling meaning that like you're somebody with female reproductive organs of a reproductive age, and you're not using hormonal intervention, you're cycling, every single aspect of your life is cyclical. And I bet with any disease, like literally any other disease, you could find cycle-based symptoms, even with things that aren't considered, quote, a woman's disease, a woman's problem. I'm sure that would be the case, because your cycle affects literally everything. Like if you are cycling, you can't escape the cycle. Like it affects every little thing in your life, which is why I'm so passionate about making sure that women know what their body is doing, and how to best support it. But yeah, the stigma around it really just sucks too, because sometimes you'll tell people that you have endometriosis and they either don't know what it is or they think that it's just bad period cramps, and it just compounds like all of this stuff, the mental stuff, the stigma around it, the pain, the anxiety. It's just too much, which is why I share. That's why I share. So the aftermath of that, the kids did not ask anything. Nobody heard. They were so engrossed in their Shrek movie, so thank God. But it really had me thinking too, like every time I am, hanging out with Josh and the kids and I have a horrible flare up and can barely get out of bed, or and crying every 2 seconds or whatever it is, I think about how there are still doctors out there telling women with endometriosis to get pregnant. I cannot tell you guys, like I cannot imagine having a baby to take care of on a day that I'm flaring up. I cannot take care of myself on those days. I need mobility aids. I need an entire apothecary. I need someone to heat up my warmie for me and make me soup that I may or may not throw up later. I can't take care of myself on those days. I don't understand how these endo warriors are also mamas on top of it. Like that is so fucking impressive to me. And the fact that there's still this really like sexist, outdated belief that pregnancy will treat or cure endo, which is absolute bullshit, but it's still, doctors still say it. Like I hear women online say, like honestly fairly often I hear this where they're like, yeah, my doctor said to get pregnant, or my doctor said that like when I got pregnant that my endo would be better. Like that's like not at all. Perhaps for some women during your pregnancy, because you've got really high progesterone and you don't have a period for 10 months. Obviously, your symptoms are not going to be the same, and they could potentially be better during that time. They also could potentially be worse. And after you give birth, for a lot of women, they are worse. They come back like a bitch. And it's just so stupid to recommend pregnancy as a fucking treatment for literally any disease. Like what? I want to speak with every doctor who's ever said that to a patient, because like what? You shouldn't have a license. You really shouldn't have a medical license. That's fucking crazy. And I couldn't imagine having to take care of those kids by myself on a flare-up day. I can't run. I can't pick them up. I can't discipline them. I could barely speak. I can barely keep my eyes open some of the time. It just puts a lot in perspective, dating somebody with kids and having this disease. But anyway, yeah, I threw up. It wasn't fun. It was a big, huge bummer. After I threw up, I was very tired. Like I was super tired. I notoriously can't sleep in cars or trains or planes. Like just on transportation, I can never fall asleep. I think it's because I'm vertical. I think maybe if I was able to lay down, I would be able to. But anyway, I just kind of had my eyes closed, was like not really drifting off, just like resting. Very tired. The pain subsided a little after I threw up, and eventually by the time we got there was much better. We stopped to go to the bathroom at one point, and I stood up, and I could tell that if I stood for too long it would hurt. But just went to the bathroom, got back in the car, was fine. We stopped for lunch on the way back, and we stopped at this place that I love. It's so good. It's like Greek, like Mediterranean food. And they have knock. I don't know if that's how you say it. It's NOK, which is literally just like chickpeas and olive oil and like a spice blend, like a Middle Eastern spice blend, maybe I want to say. I don't really know for sure. It's so fucking good. And if you know me, I will just eat chickpeas all day long. I eat chickpeas so often. In fact, I might eat chickpeas after I finish recording this. I love chickpeas. And so I got that, a whole thing of chickpeas, which is so good for like protein and fiber, especially when on the first day of your period as well. And I was able to stomach that. And then I also got this like veggie, actually, no, well, it was like a veggie thing that I put a steak kebab on because I don't usually eat steak. I don't usually eat a lot of meat, honestly, but if I'm able to get some steak on the first day or two of my period, I do take advantage of that because obviously that like iron replenishment. So it's just like a lot of veggies and like falafel and steak. A big like pita, but it obviously that had gluten in it, so I didn't really eat that. Just gave it to Josh. But yeah, so I ate that and actually felt fine afterwards. I said in a TikTok video that a lot of times my cramps will kind of subside and I'll eat something and then it's like anytime my digestive system is activated, the cramps start again. And it's very frustrating. So I was a little bit nervous, but I was starving and I was like, I have to eat. So I ate all of it and it was pretty good and did not didn't trigger my cramps, at least not at that moment. And then we drove for a little bit. I got hungry again. Josh had a little bit of his left. And so I had a little bit of his. And then that kind of triggered my cramps a little bit again. So when we got home, I was kind of cramping. I think I took another ginger pill, maybe. I don't know. Just went to the bathroom and kind of got in like one of the positions that really help, like the yoga puppy pose, I think it is, usually helps when I'm having like cramps that I can tell are related to gas pains. So just kind of was like massaging my stomach a little bit too, put some castor oil on my stomach and eventually was able to. And also it didn't stop me from having sex. So that helps too, if anyone's wondering. For some reason, I've noticed this before also when the first time I tried to put a menstrual cup in, which was actually the worst. I hated my life. That was horrible. And that's why I wear disc now, because I didn't even know it was a thing. But I failed with the cups, and somebody told me about the disc, and it was so much easier. But I literally could not get the cup inside of me. But I remember back a few years ago, this was probably back in like 2023 maybe, when I first bought a cup and I was trying it, and I like couldn't get it in. I remember I was trying on the first day of my period and I had cramps. And and I'm not kidding, I literally tried to do this for like probably at least 30 minutes. I was just in the bathroom with my fingers up my vagina and like not in a fun way, just trying to get this cup in, and it helped my cramps. Just kind of have like just having something up there. I don't know the science behind that at all, or if that's just me. And I've heard other people say that like the cup helps their cramps, like when they have it in, but I'm not kidding. Like I literally didn't get this in. It never sat completely like where it was supposed to sit. I don't know why. I have no idea why. Well, I have no idea what was going on. When I bought the disc, it worked the second try. Like literally the second try. I went in so easy and I was like, that was literally so easy. But yeah, I don't know, just like a half hour of me like trying to put something up there helped my cramps. And I remember thinking that day, like, that is so interesting. And so yeah, if you're having cramps, but they're not so bad that they're preventing you from like moving, I do recommend sex. I guess that's specifically like sex with a man, or with toys, I guess, if you want something like to actually get something up there, because I don't know. I mean, they say that orgasming helps with can help with cramps too. Honestly, I don't know if that's it though. Like for me, it's very much the act of just having something in my vagina. Is this weird? Because anyone else experienced anything like that? And if you haven't, can you try and let me know? Anyway, that is my update. Got a little raw in this episode. But yeah, it's not the worst period I've ever had. I think in the grand scheme of things, the cramps were probably more short-lived than they were before my surgery. So I guess that's a plus. But I had not thrown up since like February, I think it was February or March or something. It had been quite a few months that I had thrown up whenever I started doing that gluten-free thing, and I broke my streak. So fuck my life. But anyway, if you are on an endo journey, or you're have been diagnosed or want to get diagnosed or have no idea how to get diagnosed, but you think that you have it, like, my door is always open. Literally always. You can find me on TikTok, Girl in Pain. You can find me on Instagram, either the podcast account at The Health Class She Deserves, or my personal account at Autumn Marie, 2 N's, 2 E's. AUTUMNNMARIEE. You can email me, thehealthclassshedeserves@gmail.com. I'm reachable. I'm so reachable. So please feel free. Any questions, any support that you need. This disease fucking sucks. And I hope that me making these episodes, these solo casts, talking about my journey and stuff, and all that, is helpful or validating. But I love you all. And thank you so much for listening. And I hope that we're having a pain-free day. Make sure that you share this episode with your friends. If you have a friend who's suffering with endometriosis or thinks that they might be, or even a partner or a friend who, or family member who you want to like understand your disease better, like if this resonates with you, you can send it to them as well. You can also rate and review the show to help me out. And I have a really, really incredible interview coming up on Tuesday at the normal release time. I'm very excited for it. It was like a really, really great conversation about, I'm not gonna give it away yet, but it was about intimacy and self-pleasure and liberated leadership. So if that's intriguing to you, make sure you follow along so that you don't miss that episode, coming out Tuesday, August 12th. August 12th is Tuesday. Yes. So thank you guys so much. I love you all, and I hope that you have an incredible day. And I'll see you all next time. Class dismissed.